Like those Indians, I'm an Indian too. I sue, ooh, ooh, I sue, ooh, ooh. Just like rising moon, falling pants, running nose. Like those Indians, I'm an Indian too. I sue, ooh, ooh, I sue, ooh, ooh. Some Indian summers day without a care.
All right, so that I guess that was just too funny not to share, even though normally I don't really think that that's the most appropriate thing to do, but that is comedy gold, and so it was the candidacy of Elizabeth Warren, and you can just see all of the butt hurt come out of the left today with her dropping out of the race, and now they're going to have to, I guess, justify backing Joe Biden, even though it's pretty obvious that they don't want to. And this was the way that Stephen Colbert reacted.
Welcome, one and all, to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. Another candidate. Yet another candidate has dropped out of the Democratic race, and we're getting a clearer picture of America's future, and it looks a lot like America's past. And I'll give you the latest in tonight's edition of...
I have a plan for that.
I beat Trump. Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Bing, bing, bong, bong.
Fury Road to the White House 2020. Come on!
Now, folks, I'm afraid I have sad news for fans of competence, because friend of the show, Elizabeth Warren, has dropped out of the presidential race. The one-time frontrunner, Warren, made the classic campaign mistake of being able to finish a coherent sentence and not having a penis. Warren is gone now. That's it. She's out of the race. Further proof that America cannot have nice things. She had a plan for everything: a health care plan, an immigration plan, a student loan plan, and her most popular plan of all, kneecapping Michael Bloomberg with a croquet mallet.
Oh!
No. Pop! Hold still. Ataka! Not surprisingly, Warren was gracious and eloquent, reportedly telling her staff, "I will carry you in my heart for the rest of my life. If I leave you with one piece of advice, choose to fight only righteous fights." That is beautiful. But fear not.
So you can see just how committed they are to these people. That's why I would say late night TV has virtually evaporated in terms of its audience. I don't even know why the networks even continue to run these shows, because who even watches them? Who stays up late just to watch some jokes when a lot of people could just stream online comedy specials or anything they want? Then you have Trevor Noah and Jimmy Kimmel. I guess let's watch Kimmel's, because Noah usually his delivery is just garbage.
As Joe Biden gets ready to storm the White House atop his ride-on lawnmower, his opponent, Senator Elizabeth Warren, has dropped out of the race. In spite of her experience, her track record, and her skills in the debates, American voters ultimately decided she just didn't have what they were looking for in a president, which is a penis. And so Elizabeth Warren finished distant third in the delegate race. It's hard to argue that sexism didn't play some part in that, not just direct sexism. There are a lot of people saying, hey, listen, I'm fine voting for a woman. I would love to, but after Hillary, I just don't want to risk it. It's secondhand sexism is what it is. So now the question is, who will Elizabeth Warren endorse? Will both want the endorsement, Bernie or Biden? And that is a question she was asked during a chat with reporters outside her house today.
Senator Warren, will you be making an endorsement today? We know that you spoke with both Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders yesterday.
Not today.
Not today.
I need some space around this, and want to take a little time to think a little more.
So I guess Bernie has the edge. So the remaining candidates are now Bernie, Joe Biden, and Tulsi Gabbard, who's got kind of a fun real estate agent vibe going. but also only has 2 delegates, which means the stage is set for Bernie versus Joe. It's the early bird special. Basically, it's like when you're trying to choose which type of Breyers vanilla to get at the supermarket, and they've got the natural, the homemade, and the...
Right. It's the same garbage again against sexism. They're now shoehorning in racism because Biden and Sanders are white, even though if you're a white supremacist, most of them don't consider Sanders to be white anyway. So it's all bullshit, and it just shows how sold out these people are, that they're going to blame Elizabeth Warren's downfall exclusively on her being a woman and on the fact that she's too competent. Remember, so Colbert was talking about, oh, she has a plan for everything. He didn't say whether those plans are good. Okay, just having a policy doesn't make you a competent person. Now, here's some of the reaction on Twitter. This was from her interview with Maddow.
Particularly, it's a particular problem with Sanders' supporters.
It is. I mean, and it just is. It's just a factual question. And it is. And that's something I think that...
Have you ever talked with Senator Sanders about that?
I have.
What was that conversation like?
It was short. But, yeah, we've talked about it. But I think it's a real problem.
Does he not share your view that he's responsible for the behavior of supporters?
You know, I shouldn't speak for him. Mm-hmm. It's something he should speak for himself on. But I do.
So notice what Maddow said. Does he not share your view that he's responsible for his supporters' behavior? Bernie Sanders, as much as I hate him, and I don't like most of his supporters, is not responsible for their behavior, right? He's not, but you can't control what people who are your fans do. That's the same argument that people made about the fans of heavy metal that would get into trouble and get arrested, or juggalos. They try to blame it on the Insane Clown Posse, right? So people, I don't remember what band it was, but one was sued because one of their fans committed suicide. I think while listening to their song. So this is just an absurd argument. It doesn't make sense whether in politics or in anything. It's just ridiculous.
I do think it's something that we need to reckon with in our political discourse, in particular, because this is what politics is about, is to get out and put your ideas out there. People choose sides, people vote, people say, I'm holding a sign for her, I'm holding a sign for him. That is part of what we do. But what underlies that is a fundamental human decency and respect for each other. An understanding that nobody tries to put somebody's family at risk or somebody personally at risk because they disagree with you on the politics of it, because they see the policy different, because they don't support your candidate and they support some other candidate. No. And if we follow that same kind of politics of division that Donald Trump follows, that notion of, he draws strength from tearing people apart, from demonizing people, from saying, oh, those are bad people, and that's kind of how they draw their strength. It's not who I want to be as a Democrat. It's not who I want to be as an American. And to the extent I have any power to control that, I do what I can, and I call on others to do the same. And I think we have to have some accountability around that.
So yeah, that was bullshit. It was more bullshit from Elizabeth Warren, who lied about her ethnicity, lied about her having to take off or actually losing her job because she was pregnant. That was a lie. She had no plan on how to pay for her Medicare for all. That's what really started the boulder rolling down the hillside for her. And she deserved to lose. And she could have possibly been the winning candidate had she really, I guess, thought out her plans instead of just releasing them. But instead, she's going to probably end up being either in the running to be a cabinet member under a Democratic nominee, or simply being the running mate, which is, I guess, the best she could have hoped for, and there will probably be jokes about that. That's what's so ridiculous, that by saying that Elizabeth Warren is having to bow out because of sexism, and at the same time making fun of Tulsi Gabbard for staying in and mocking her as a real estate agent, because she wears a red jacket sometimes. That just shows the degree of how much late night talk shows and the like are willing to just throw away any semblance of fairness. And what are they going to say next? They're going to say, oh, Joe Biden won the nomination because of sexism or racism towards Kamala Harris. Because remember, Kamala Harris was the first person to target Joe Biden and call him essentially a segregationist. And that's now been wiped away and almost forgiven. Instead, we have people who are, I guess, resigning themselves to the reality that he is going to be the nominee and they can't do anything about it. They're being dragged, kicking and screaming. We're not even just talking about Bernie bros. We're talking about the regular voters, the centrist Democratic voter. The people, a lot of those people, I'm sure, probably would have preferred a candidate that's younger and more lucid. That's why Buttigieg won in the first two primaries much more, even though obviously there was some funny business going on. Charlotte Clymer, who is this circus freak, and she tweeted, really excited for Elizabeth Warren to go back to being one of the most universally loved elected officials in the country now that she's no longer a woman asking to run the country. Notice the bald-faced lie here. Universally loved? She's not even... Here, this is... I looked this up. So this is favorable and unfavorable ratings from Real Clear Politics. These are all current polls. The Harris poll, Harris, which usually partners with Harvard, I believe, she had a 38 to 46 favorable to unfavorable ratio. So she's 8 points behind in that one. Quinnipiac, 39 to 47. That was in early February. Fox News, 43 to 47. And YouGov, 45 to 49. So her average is 41.3% favorable, 47.3% unfavorable. She has a lower favorability rating than Trump. Okay, and Trump, by the way, doesn't have a low favorability rating. And really, this is what's shocking, that within, so again, these weren't polled concurrently, but Quinnipiac, which is notoriously slanted towards the Democrats, she's actually rated lower than Fox News rates her. So that's just pure disingenuousness. Let's see if we can find any more nuggets. Palmer Report, which is run by a lunatic, says Elizabeth Warren is now saying the exact same things about Bernie's toxic cult-like fanatics I've been saying all month, except she's saying it more thoughtfully and eloquently than I have because she's smarter and better than I am. What a simp. What a simp. Then you have Secular Talk, Kyle Kulinski, saying Elizabeth Warren doesn't owe anybody anything. If she truly believes in the platform she had as a presidential candidate, though, this isn't a difficult decision at all. She'd endorse Bernie. Well, once in a while, you have to agree with just common sense and logic, and Kyle Kulinski's right about that. Anyone who's ever called Elizabeth Warren unlikable is not paying attention. She is fierce and she is nice. I love her so much. Mad Owl, hashtag. Senator Warren went directly to Bernie Sanders and addressed the bullying behavior of his supporters. Cantankerous Sanders is tone-deaf and obstinate, particularly when it comes to any constructive criticism of him or his presidential campaign. This is mostly people who are they're close to the plate. They're close to the trough, and they just love feeding from it. The trough of public adulation and commiseration. That's what they're really about. They just want to kiss her ass because she's such a great candidate that people simply don't vote for her because she's just that good. They don't feel worthy to vote for her. That's the way I'll explain it. The voters don't feel worthy to vote for her, so they just vote for someone else. Jason Alexander, also known as George Costanza, who hasn't had a decent role since then, says watching Senator Warren on Rachel Maddow, the senator, is a brilliant, charming, inspirational leader. I believe she'd have been a wonderful president. I pray she will continue to be a vital leader to our country, and I look forward to her future. Thank you, Senator Warren. Here is Sawyer Hackett from Julian Castro's team. This was Julian Castro. Remember, Julian Castro actually did endorse Elizabeth Warren after dropping out. And so therefore, he loses the most out of this because he got nothing out of that endorsement.
For being smart cannot be the right answer. And part of the way I know it is not the right answer is that I walked through my headquarters today and I saw all those strong, powerful women. I saw all those women who said, thank you for standing up to Michael Bloomberg. I saw all those women who said, thank you for being smart and making that okay. Thank you for talking over men sometimes, because I'm just damn tired of always having it go the other way.
Yeah, shut up. We're going to shut you up right now. This was me as the domineering patriarchal man telling Elizabeth Warren to shut up and clicking the pause button. The Democratic Socialists said Elizabeth Warren was one of the few presidential candidates who articulated the deep injustices in our economy. We welcome her supporters to continue the fight with us to stop the 1% from hoarding their wealth. And then Meghan McCain, just retarded. Any woman who gets in the arena and fights as hard as Elizabeth Warren deserves respect. Quote, and I'm a hardcore conservative. Lie. It's not an even playing field for us against men, and I hope someday it finally will be. She also skillfully nuked Bloomberg from space in the debates. Look, I don't think this is one of the things that, again, so it wasn't that hard to go after Michael Bloomberg. Somebody was going to do it. I think that if Elizabeth Warren hadn't gone after him, Amy Klobuchar might have. You might have had Pete Buttigieg do it. You might have had Joe Biden do it. Maybe it wasn't going to be as sharp of a rebuke because obviously Joe Biden has a longer track record in politics and might have crossed paths with Bloomberg in a sort of donor receiver capacity. But the truth is that it did not take nearly as much courage for Warren to do that as it took for Tulsi Gabbard. And I don't care if I sound like a Tulsi stan right now because, to be honest with you, she got screwed this week by the DNC. They're apparently going to change the rules so that even if you did get delegates, as was stated would be a qualifying factor, you're not going to be able to qualify for the next debate. So, yes, Tulsi Gabbard had much more courage going after Kamala Harris back in, I think it was either July or August, and just destroying her. And Elizabeth Warren, look, obviously it seems like Michael Bloomberg is a more dominant person, but Bloomberg was going to probably flame out anyway. I think that his entire performance in that debate was lackluster, and he was a weak candidate to begin with. Kamala Harris had the media by the balls. Everyone wanted her to succeed, and that moment showed just how empty and petulant she was. That was a bigger moment, in my opinion. So we'll take a look real quick. So DNC says debate threshold will go up after Gabbard clears previous mark. Isn't this insane? How can you? What's so ridiculous is that they claim to be the Democratic Party, yet they put mandates out there and don't hold by them. Okay, they change the rules all the time. Nobody really sees any rhyme or reason to how they play this game. It's almost like, I remember there's probably other, there's probably actual games like this where the rules change in the middle. But I remember there were episodes of Batman, the animated series, where the Riddler would have these parallel virtual realities where basically everything would change moment by moment, and that was how he would drive the Batman nuts. So yeah, this is insane, and I don't care. Yes, Tulsi Gabbard, a lot of problematic policies. I don't know if I'm going to vote in the primary, and even if I do vote in the primary, I'm not sure it's going to matter here in Ohio. I don't think she has any support, but you have to hand it to her. She's not bowing out, and she is saying exactly what she thinks, and not just cowering behind her her spokespeople and towing the DNC line. So that's about it. I want to leave you with this thought. Sorry, this is taking longer than usual, obviously.
A bear and I'll have totem poles, tomahawks, skull cap goose, which will go to prove I'm an Indian too. I sue, ooh, ooh, I sue, oh, I